Welcome to Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis. A lot of you have been asking me about grip shapes, butt cap shapes. Why are they different? How are they different? Is head still really flat on the big bevel? Is Wilson still square? We're going to answer all those questions today. Stay tuned. Hey guys, do you need help organizing your tennis life? Well, think Go! We got the Axiom line here, the 9-pack duffel, my favorite bag, the 9-pack Axiom 2.0. They even make a 12-pack if you're going on tour. And my favorite backpack of all time. I love that bag. So if you want to organize your tennis life, think Go. All right, so Coach Rob specifically had a question about the butt cap, which actually goes into how this is shaped, because the butt cap shape is the shape of the racket. What's the question, Coach?
All right, so one of my players that has graduated high school, graduated college, is still playing and competing. His question says, I have and his name is Brian. I have a discussion topic for Tennis Spin. Why do racket brands have different butt cap shapes? I personally don't like Wilson. Come on, B. Because it's too big and the corners are too rigid.
Interesting. Let me just answer this question first before I get into this video a little bit more.
And just for all of you, Brian plays with a Babolat Pure Arrow.
I see.
98.
Okay. 98. Okay. So he's a Alcaraz user or liker or fan. So look at this shape. Look at this shape.
Yeah, I like that.
It's flared up. So this is knobbier than the rest. This is something new for Wilson. They've decided to do this attached butt cap into the frame because those staples were either getting loose or people were ripping those staples through the grip itself, through the cast foam. So in order to eliminate this getting ripped off, like literally getting ripped off from people's forehands and cracking, they modified the grip to do this. And that's why it's knobbier now. I personally like it knobbier, right? You get to feel it.
Right. Well, back in the day, I used to build up, not me, but my tennis coach, Jim Badillion, shout out, would take off the grip. He would get duct tape, cut it in thin strips, and roll it around and build it up, because I was losing when I was hot and was sweating. My hand would slip and I was letting go of the racket on overheads and my hand was sliding off. So if I had a big knobby butt cap, kind of like a knob on the baseball bat,
right,
my hand wasn't going to be able to slide off.
Yeah.
So thank you, Jim, for all of your patience with me over the years and fixing my butt cap so I didn't break any more rackets.
The one company that really almost didn't have a knob is my favorite, Yamaha, and in which you played with too. There's barely a knob on that thing.
That's probably why he was spending a lot of time with that.
But let's get into this video. There's always a lot of talk. There's always a lot of talk about shapes, and these all probably, there has to be some that are similar, some that are squarer, right? That are more kind of like square, like a square. Some are more rectangular, and some are going to be in between. Head is always known for having a more rectangular grip. Wilson and Babolat are more square. But we're actually going to measure these with a tape measure, the butt caps. to see how different these are. So I have the 6 leading brands in tennis, tennis rackets, in 4 1/4s. They're all 4 1/4s. Where we
As
measure,
they say, it's 4 1/4.
where we measure 4 1/4 is right down the center of this racket. If you use a tape measure and wrap it all the way around, it comes out 4 1/4. Where we change though is as we move down into the racket, into the butt cap, this gets obviously bigger, okay? Because that's the knob of the racket and where the bottom of the racket is where you hold it. Now, so you're feeling it depending on where you grip it. Like, look at my palm, okay? So look at my palm. Like this side can either be longer, which you'll feel kind of a flatter sensation, more sitting in the palm, or less and more rounder. Now, because Coach Rob has a continental grip, more of this sits in your palm. Right, like so. Okay.
So this big bevel here,
Mm-hmm.
right, sits there.
Right. So you have more.
But I could move it over if I wasn't going to go continental.
Right.
But yes.
Right. But I'm saying, like, back in the day, I mean, I'm guessing Head made their grip the way they did is because of a continental grip.
Right.
Right. Because more of the flat side sits in your palm and you're right behind it, hitting it like this. As we've moved into later days and modern days, instead of it sitting on your palm, it's been turned over a little bit more, right? So you're not on the flat side anymore, as you can see by my grip. I'm on the flat side is sitting kind of like, so I'm like a frying pan now. Like I'm doing this and that's my grip, right? Therefore, a square grip makes more sense because I'm coming over it a little bit more now. That makes sense?
Sure.
Yeah. So, but we're going to take the 6 major brands. We're going to measure the throat, measure the butt cap with this and see what the readings are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this side where it's laying flat the vertical, okay? The V for vertical. We're going to measure it like so, and then we're going to flip it this way. I'm going to call that the horizontal, and I'm going to measure it like this also. We're going to come back with a bunch of numbers and then analyze them. All right, stay tuned. All right, so we got Wilson as the last one, 4 1/4. Vertical side.
Right.
What do we got?
We got 9/16.
1 and 9/16.
Yep.
Okay, so it's 1 inch and 9/16 of the vertical. And then the horizontal is?
The horizontal, we went with the 1 and 11/16.
1 and 11/16. So it's 1 inch plus 9/16 on the vertical and 1 inch plus 11/16 of that vertical. So it's 16, I don't know what that measurement is, but it's 16 somethings to an inch. So when people say a half, it's 8/16 equals to 1/2. Okay, I'm learning math myself sometimes. Okay, so this is what we got. I'm going to show you. We just measured all of them, and I'm going to leave that up for you for a little while. Okay. Now, looking at the chart, Coach, none of them match each other.
Correct. Correct. Some are close.
Some are close.
You know, you take your head and your Solinko, the vertical is the same, but the horizontal is off by a little. Yeah, they're all a little bit different.
Okay, so on the head racket, everybody, historically, this large bevel has been the widest. Now, is that true here? Is that true here on this chart?
The head.
So on that second
yeah,
number.
it's right there as the largest of the that one and the Wilson.
So it is. So the largest bevel, is it head? I'm not looking.
So no, it's head and Wilson.
Oh, it's head and Wilson. How about that first number?
The first one is the two, Wilson has the 9/16 and the head has the 8/16.
Interesting. So
as well as the Solinco is at 8 as well.
So you're telling me that Wilson and head have essentially the same shape?
They're pretty close.
Interesting. I thought so. If somebody was asking me what's the squarest grip, which one would be the squarest grip?
The squarest?
Meaning both numbers are kind of very similar, not one's overly longer than the other.
Yeah, your the head and the Solinco are both right there. The Wilson is there as well with the 9/16. So
okay. So guys, there's really no consistency here. Like nobody kind of talks to each other about engineering a grip shape, butt cap, and I'm sure there is a method to these companies' madnesses when it comes to building these things and to whatever is the most comfortable for you, the player. Now I'm going to take a quick peek at this. Wilson's got that 11, so does head. Wow, and then it's the 10. So Yonex is kind of the anomaly here, if you look at it on the vertical. Huh. And then, but 7 actually comes in 3 times here with the Dunlop and the Yonex and the Babolat. So, and we're talking literally, is it even a centimeter? I don't even know what those measurements are. The 16ths of inches. 16ths of inches. So, let me see. What is the farthest distance apart? That's 2. That's 2. That's 3. That's 3. That's 2. And that's 3. So 2s and 3s are the differences in symmetricalness. So let's talk about this a little bit here. You always play with Wilson. And do you like that grip shape?
This shape feels good. Mm-hmm. My pinky sits in that slot really nice right there. I've got a good, the large bevel right there feels comfortable in my hand. I wouldn't use a quarter grip, but yeah.
So what if I stuck this in your hand and said, play with that?
Yeah, it's pretty close. Same idea. It's got enough of a little bit there where my pinky can sit. Same idea here on the large bevel. This quarter feels larger than the Wilson quarter. Could be that we still have the plastic wrap on this one. But yeah.
Now, let's throw a Babolat in. Let's throw a Babolat in.
So this one, there's not much bevel. There's not much of a slot for my pinky. It's pretty flat. Mm-hmm. There's not a lot of raised right there. So, but the flat bevel here still feels good, but my pinky just doesn't have a home right there.
Let's try Yonex.
Same idea with Yonex. There's it's almost pretty straight across, so it doesn't really just sit in there comfortably. But there again, the wider bevel still pretty good. Yeah.
I feel like what you're feeling is the dip. I call it the dip.
Right.
Like where it comes in and is not as pronounced down in here before it like jumps into the end of the butt cap.
Right.
Now, let's say.
And then even like here, like if you look at the Dunlop, right? Same thing. Mm-hmm. There's, this one's a little square. It's got a little bit of a dip in there, but not a lot.
So let's say Wilson decided to use something else on a grip that you didn't like. Would you change brands?
No.
Just like I've heard people tell me, it's like, I don't like this brand. Just like your friend. I don't like this brand because they have a bad grip shape or a bad knob or a butt cap. I've actually heard people, like my buddy Danny here, he literally ordered different butt caps to insert into a different brand's racket. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure that works. He asked me that question, and I don't think I've ever done it before.
It sounds like a glue project.
Yes, it has to be like epoxied in, and I don't know if you can nail that down, but I'm sure it can be done. The only time I've actually done it was, do you remember when the Fed rackets had the sharp edges?
Yep.
I've had people that says, can you remove the ones with the sharp edges and put the round edges in? And I said, sure, bring them in. So I've popped those out,
right,
popped them back in, and then
why not just run the over
file it down?
Well, or just run the grip a little further on the outside to cover up that edge.
Yeah, that's true too.
I mean, if you just bleed the grip over a little bit more, you're going to cover up that little spot.
Yeah, but that only lasts so long, especially when you're holding it in your palm like that.
Right.
Then you wear out the grip. Then eventually it'll start cutting you.
It'll expose.
Yeah.
There'll be time for new grip.
Yeah, that's true. But, sometimes you're lazy. Right? I've seen it filed. I've seen somebody file down the edges. So that there are ways.
I don't know if we got into performance, like how the different shape of the butt cap, has to do with the performance of the racket. That's kind of probably an individual preference.
Expand on that. Tell me what
based
you think.
on how you hold the grip, right?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of shot you're shaping and what kind of hit you're performing, how that plays into it. I don't have a great answer for you on that one, but
I feel like when you decide on the racket itself, it's kind of the whole package.
right.
When you choose the racket, you're kind of stuck with the grip.
Unless
right.
you're going to be that one that wants to pull it off and change it out.
Right. Or I've actually seen one more thing. When head was really flat, I'll grab a head racket because that's what I do. When head was really flat right here, I've seen people layer tape on both sides just to build this up wider to square it out a little bit more.
Huh.
Yeah.
Right.
I've seen that done.
Well, and you remember those old Babolots where it was like a
Oh yeah.
it was like a wave, right?
Yeah. Two mountains.
It was like two mountains. That was really weird. I wonder I never knew what their selling point was for that. Why did they build that?
I'll explain that to you.
Obviously, it's not around anymore, so it didn't work, or not enough people liked it. I don't know.
So supposedly, when you grip a racket like this,
okay,
right, there is like in between your palm and the where you touch the grip is space.
Okay.
So when you build a bulge in here and in here, you are filling in the space.
That space. So that was the idea behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Huh, okay.
So that you
I learned something new today.
So that you have a more true grip of the racket. I think it's for that age of a person, if you know what I mean.
It was probably, I think, was it like more on oversized rackets?
Oversized and light. Yeah.
Right.
It's for the people who kind of need a little help holding on to the rackets.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Got it.
So guys, we educated you on how there's no consistency in the grip shapes and the butt caps. Tell me if a butt cap or the grip shape matters to you. Because I know for a bunch of you it does, because I've seen and read your comments. Coach Rob and other people have asked me the same questions. We've defined that there's no consistency, like I just said. Coach Rob, thank you so much.
Sure.
For doing this test with me and being my Vanna White.
Thanks to Brian for shooting me that text question.
Yes. Pat Sajak is retired, if you didn't know. Guys, thank you for watching Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis.